myself Soumya Tripathi, working as Assistant Professor in Noida Institute of Engineering and Technology, Greater Noida, which is affiliated from Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Technical University, Lucknow. In today's topic, I am going to have a lecture on land resource, which comes under the subject Environmental Science, code BP 2060. Here I will discuss in detail about how we are going to conserve, what are the introductory part of the land resource. So, let us start. First I will discuss here the introduction of land resource. What is land resource? A land resource means a resource available from the land. All the resources which we have talked earlier about, the land resource, energy resource, forest resource, water resource, all they lie on our land resource. So, this land resource is also very important point, and here you see land is essential natural resource both for survival and for the prosperity of humanity. Land resource is very much important basically for two things. First, for the survival of life, and second, for the prosperity of humanity. We are going a deep concern our land resource, and for the maintenance of all terrestrial ecosystem, and on that land only we have to maintain all terrestrial ecosystem. So, this is a very much important that for us as well as for maintaining ecosystem, for developing all the things on land itself, this topic is very much of importance. Land is considered as an important resource as it provides habitation to a wide variety of flora and fauna. All the different type of flora and fauna, they all have a proper vegetation, proper habitation on our land resource. It also used by the human being for various purpose, and we as a human being, we are also using our land resource in a different manner for doing agriculture, for mining activity, for building houses, road and setting up of industries, forestry, agriculture. We as a human being are utilizing our land resource. So, both animal as well as the human being, we both are enjoying on our land resource, and we all are utilizing our land resource in a different manner. All the flora and fauna have a habitation on it, and we as a human being enjoy, we also perform different activity in a different forms, like we are having a proper agriculture here, we are having a deep mining, we are building our houses, road, we are going to set up our buildings, our industries. So, we all are depend on our land resource. How many types of land resources? There are basically two main types of land resources. Depending on the renewability and the nature of resource, a land resource can be divided into two topics, into two main parts. First is renewable land resource and second is non-renewable land resource. Renewable land resource are those resources which can be renewed, which can be regenerated, and non-renewable land resources are those resources which cannot be renewed in a future. So, here you see the renewable land resources are, they include forest. Forest can be renewed easily, we are going to renew our forest, fertile land and water. These are the resources which are going to be renewed, and some natural resources such as soil, water are essential for the existence of our life. For existing, for maintaining our life, we need both soil as well as water for our survival. Here you see also the renewable natural resources are the resources that can be replaced naturally in our lifetime. We can renew this in our lifetime, and thus we can use this repeatedly, we can use in so many times these natural resources. Example includes our fresh water, timber and solar energy. These are the example of our renewable land resources. Agriculture land, water resource and forest resource are the examples of renewable resources. Means water resource, forest resource, agriculture, we can renew these land. Agriculture land can be renewed in so many number of ways. We can regenerate, renewed. So, these are the example of renewable land resources. Non-renewable land resource. What do you mean by the non-renewable land resource? Minerals and power resource such as deposits of iron ore, coal, petroleum and so many. These are non-renewable land resource. We are not going to renew this. Once we use, we are not going to regenerate this. So, these are the example of non-renewable land resource. And these are the resources that cannot be recycled, because we have to focus on 3R rule, but the 3R rules are not followed on this. 1R rule is not followed on this. So, we are not able to recycle this for a shorter period of time. It takes 100 to 1000 of year to replenish it. So, we have to use these non-renewable land resource in a very systematic and proper manner. If we talk in detail about the land resource, that what are the land resource, how we are going to save our land resource, what is the importance of our land resource, here we will see a land is regarded as the greatest among the natural resource. It is one of the basic natural resource which our nature has gifted us. So, we have to maintain this resource for so many years, we have to focus on that, we have to maintain, we have to think on that, how we are going to conserve it properly. It is one of the important component of life support system, and this land resource is one of the biggest support system for our life. Each and everyone is gifted by this land support, and we have to maintain it properly, we have to use it properly, we have to not waste our land resource unnecessarily. Now, importance of land resources are, it sustain many of the living being. So, this is our basic importance, that it sustain many of our living beings which are living on that planet. Agriculture activity is also done here. So, this is the important point. Animal husbandry is also performed on our land resource only. So, these both things are very important. It support forest and grassland. This land resource, if there is no land resource, we are not going to support the forest and grassland. So, if we are maintaining our land resource, we are also maintaining our forest and grassland. Next point is that human settlement and wildlife depends on land. All the human settlement, all the industries, all the houses, all the buildings, all the different things, they all are settled on our land only. And wildlife, all the animals, they all are supposed to have a peaceful life on our land only. So, these both are also important. Industrialization and urbanization, these both two things, industrialization as well as urbanization. As our population is going to increase, we have to have settled on that particular land itself. So, both industrialization and urbanization is also depend on our land resource. If there is no land resource, we are not going to settle, we are not going to have a single place for us to survive. So, it is important. Construction of road, railway lines is possible due to the availability of land. This thing is also very simple, that if we are going to construct a road, if we are going to have a rail line, if we are going to have a any of the transportation means on which we can move from one place to another, we have to require a proper land. So, everything is depend on our land. If there is no land, we are not able to survive, we are not able to stand, we are not able to construct, we are not able to cultivate a single crop. So, land resource is very much important. functions of our land resource. What is the basic function of our land resource? There are so many functions of our land resource. The basic function of our land is for supporting human and other terrestrial ecosystem. We are supposed to have this is a basic supporting system which our nature has provided, that it provided us the land resource. So, the basic function of land is supporting human and other terrestrial, our ecosystem is also totally depend on our land resource, and can be summarized here that a store of wealth for individual, group or a community production of food, fiber, fuel and other biotic materials for human use, provision of biological habitat for plant, animal and microorganism. This here I am going to summarize this, that by this land resource all the plants, all the animal as well as the human being, they all are having a peaceful life in a very defined manner. We are surviving here, we are enjoying all the resources only because of our land resource. If land resource is not there, we are not going to have a forest resource, we are not going to have a water resource, we are not going to have a different food items. So, all the things depend on our land resource, all the ecosystem they totally depend on our land resource. So, this is very much important function of our land resource. Co-determinants in the global energy balance and the global hydrological cycle, these two things, global energy balance and the global hydrological cycle, which provide both a source and a sink of greenhouse gas, it also depends on our land resource. So, here again it is very of important use. Regulation of storage and flow of surface water and groundwater. All our water bodies, they all are having a place where in our land resource. So, all the water bodies are going to be regulated on our land resource, whether it is surface water or whether it is groundwater. They have a proper regulation on our land resource. Storehouse of mineral. Our land resource is a basic initial storehouse of our minerals and raw material for human use. So, again I am focusing on our land resource, that our land resource is a storehouse for both mineral as well as for our raw material, for our crops, for everything. It is a storehouse where we can store our different items, a buffer, filter and a modifier for chemical pollutants. And our land resource is again here benefited, we are benefited by filter, modifier and chemical. We are going to store, we are going to have a proper storage of all these chemical pollutant on our land resource. It is a big provision of physical space for the settlement and industry and recreation. If we are not having a proper land resource, we are not having a proper recreation. All the recreation activities is being performed on our land resource. It is very simple. We are going to have a settlement. The proper settlement of each and every individual is on our land resource. So, it is important, and all the industries are having a setup on our land resource. So, it is a very important function of our land resource that all the three things, settlement, recreation and the industrial settlement is on our land resource only. Now, this last point which I am going to elaborate here is that storage and the protection of evidence from the historical or prehistorical record can also be saved here. We are going to store, we are going to have a protection of evidence from past to the present in our land resource only. Enabling or hampering the movement of animal, plants and people between one era to another. We are in this land resource, we see number of generations are living. from past to the future, we are going to compare it easily. So, this land resource is very much important. Now, one drawback which we are facing on our land resource is landslide. This landslide is very much disturbing for all of us. Like landslides refer to the down movement of mass of bedrock under the influence of gravity. Under the influence of gravity, we are facing the landslide due to the downward movement of mass of rock. So, this is challenging for our land resource, we are suffering from it. So, how many types of landslides are there? I have mentioned here, first one is the natural induced landslide, nature induced. This landslide is induced by our nature, and second is man induced landslide. We are forced to have this landslide. There are so many activities which we are doing is responsible for the man induced landslide, and nature induced landslides are caused by the natural factors such as heavy or prolonged rain, high temperature, earthquake, wind, snowfall and many more. Nature induced landslides is induced by different method. First, by heavy rainfall. When we are having a heavy rainfall, our landslide occurs. So, this is by nature. When we are a high temperature, when we are facing the high temperature, again we are facing with the landslide. Earthquake, these all are the natural disasters. Wind, snowfall, these all are the reason behind our nature induced landslide. Man induced landslides are some of the activity which we are going to perform. They are responsible for the man induced landslide. Here we will see there are so many things which we are going to do for against the landslide. We are responsible for this type of landslide. First, we are performing the mining activities. When we are going to have a mining activity in particular region like in mountain and hill, we will cause man induced landslide. We are the one, we are responsible for man induced landslide. Removal of vegetation in mountain and hilly region. If we are going to remove the vegetation, then it will again cause the landslide. Construction of dams, reservoir for hydroelectric power. For constructing any of the item, dam, reservoir for hydroelectric power generation, again we are going to disturb our particular land resource. So, we are going to cause the man induced landslide. Cutting of slopes or mountain for construction purpose. When we are going to construct, you all have seen that when we are going to construct building, construct road, in that particular region, we are going to disturb that particular habitat, and by this we have suffering from land induced landslide. Agriculture activity on hilly region. When we are going to have a agriculture activity, we are going to cultivate, we are going to have a agriculture activity in that particular hilly region, we are going to clear that land, we are going to cut down that tree. So, by that activity we are having a landslide. Overgrazing should be stopped, because by this soil erosion occurs and this will again cause the landslide. Make tunnels on mountain for the road railway. When we are going to have to form the roads on that particular region, railway lines on that particular region, we are going to disturb that land, and when we are going to disturb, when we are going to distract their position, we are having the man induced landslide. In next, effects of landslide. After having a landslide, what are the major effects which we are going to face? Obstruct roads and rail line. If you face a landslide in any of the particular region, you are going to obstruct the road and the railway. Simple, flow of water is disturbed. The water flowing system is also disturbed due to this landslide, and by this stopping of water, we face another problem, flooding. So, this is also a very important factor. Increase the turbidity in water, the turbidity of water is also going to increase, and the loss of vegetation, animal and human life. And by this landslide, all vegetation is also lost, human life is also disturbed, and the animal also disturbed. They also feel different sufferings. These animal, the human life as well as the vegetation, they all are lost, and we are facing, these are the basic effect on our landslide, that the vegetation is lost, human life is also very suffering, human life suffers a lot, and the animals also get suffer. Now, how we are going to control our landslide? The basic importance is that we have to control, we have to focus on the control method. First, we have to control for the deforestation. We have to focus, a key observation should be done on the deforestation. Afforestation should be promoted, we have to promote the afforestation. Control and reckless mining, we have to control on unnecessary mining. We have to stop on mining on that particular area, so that we are not able to generate the landslide. So, we have to stop on the mining activity in the unnecessary area. Control on overgrazing, if we are going to control on overgrazing, we will control the soil erosion. So, this is also very important. Avoid reckless cultivation, we have to stop the reckless cultivation of crops, okay, on that mountain or hilly region, so that we are going to avoid the landslide. If we are not going to stop this cultivation on that particular land, we will again face the landslide and it will cause so many problems. So, we have to think on that. Soil erosion, what is soil erosion? Soil erosion is again a very big challenge for all of us. It creates so many disasters, so many problems. First, we see it refers to the loss of top fertile layer. The top fertile layer is lost by this soil erosion, or a part of soil by natural agencies like running of water and sea waves. Our soil can be eroded by two different ways. First, by running of water. When water is running in a very high speed, our top soil is removed. So, this is also a reason. And second, by sea waves, our top soil is removed, and this top soil, if there is no top soil, we are not able to cultivate a single crop. So, this soil erosion can be also be stopped, we have to take measure for this also. The normal soil erosion and sheet erosion, there are so many different type of erosion, as I have mentioned here, that first one is the normal sheet erosion, reel erosion, gully and wind erosion. So, one by one we will discuss here normal soil erosion. Normal soil erosion is a natural phenomena process, and it is very slow process. Normal soil erosion is very slow, it is happened in a very slow manner. Sheet erosion is referred to the uniform removal of soil over a large area. From large area, soil is going to erode from the surface of sloping land by the rainwater, and by which this sheet erosion is caused? It is caused by the rainwater, larger area is removed. Reel erosion refers to eroding of soil in a core used by rainwater running. By the help of rainwater running, our reel erosion is caused. And this gully erosion refers to eroding of soil in its course by the rainwater running along with the slope of forms of reel or valley. This gully erosion is seen basically in reels or valley. A maximum amount of top soil is removed by with the help of running water. And lastly, here I am discussed with that wind soil erosion, which is caused by wind. As the name itself defined, wind soil erosion, it is caused by the wind, more effective in arid and semi-arid region. So, we have to also see, we have to also focus on these erosion processes. Now, what are the causes? We have seen different causes. Causes of soil erosion, different forms we have seen earlier, like 5 type of soil erosion are there, and we have to, and what are the basic causes of that? First one is the deforestation. We have to focus on deforestation. Deforestation, when we are going to cut down the tree, when we are going to alter our forest resource, we are having a forest deforestation, and this deforestation will give rise to the soil erosion. So, we have to stop that. Overgrazing, when there is overgrazing on any of the particular land, we are going to cause our soil erosion. Heavy rainfall, we have discussed earlier that heavy rainfall is also a main reason for soil erosion. Strong wind, we have discussed in our point that by strong wind our top soil is removed. So, this is also a basic reason. Improper method of cultivation, when we are going to cultivate our crop in a very improper manner, not in a systematic manner, then we are going to disturb the fertility of soil, and this fertility of soil is disturbed by the soil erosion. Careless and excessive irrigation, when we are providing a huge amount of water in a particular land, then we will face this soil erosion. And flood, this natural disaster is also a basic reason for what? Our soil erosion. So, there are number of things which are responsible for our soil erosion. Now, effects of soil erosion, what are the basic effect? When any of the land is having a soil erosion, it will have so many things. Reducing the soil fertility, we are going to reduce the soil fertility, causing floods, making unfit cultivated land, and resulting desertification. So, these are the basic important effect of our soil erosion. Lastly, here I will summarize you that conservation of soil is very much important. How we are going to conserve? We are going to conserve in by doing afforestation, we are going to conserve it. Preventing of reckless cutting of tree, we are going to conserve it. Control on the grazing, because by doing overgrazing there are so many problems. So, we have to control on that. Prohibition of shift cultivation, we have to focus on shift cultivation. Reclamation of wasteland, we have to manage our land, wasteland in a very proper manner. By this way we can also save it. And improvement of soil fertility by growing crops. And how we are growing crops? We have to grow our crops in a very systematic mixed farming method. Desertification is also one of the basic reason. It is a process which involves loss of generative capacity of soil due to the depletion or by the absence of plant supporting factor, and these desertification are caused by so many factors you have seen here. First is the deforestation, over exploitation of soil cover means topsoil. Strong wind is also a basic reason for that. Improve agriculture practice, if we are not going to follow a proper agriculture practice, we are going to have this overgrazing and faulty land use. We are not going to use our land properly, this will be a basic reason. Now, here we have mentioned you the basic causes of that. First cause is loss of vegetation. Due to the desertification, we are going to lose vegetation cover. Loss of habitat of wildlife is also lost. It also affect due to the desertification, it affects industry, agriculture and economic development of our country. So, we have to think on that, and land degrades are not suitable for the production. So, we have to focus on this and we have to put some control measure. Lastly, I have to think, we all have to think on the control measure, like regulation of cutting tree should be enhanced, control of overgrazing should be improved. We have to control on the overgrazing. Growing of ecological suitable plants in affected area, we have to grow some plants in the affected area so that we can maintain public awareness, proper farming and proper use of groundwater. So, we have to think on that. Thank you.